Hey, it's Justin Popovich here from toolsformotivation.com. In this presentation, I'd like to show you 6 ways to repurpose a PLR self-help tip sheet in under 10 minutes. So what we're going to do here is talk about 6 different repurposing practices, things you can do to create more exposure for your brand using a simple piece of content, but distributing it in multiple channels. So let me actually show you what a PLR tip sheet is in case you've never seen this before. This is a quick look at our website, toolsformotivation.com. We create done-for-you content. You can download a copy of any one of these products that you see here, edit it, and then publish it as your own. That's what we specialize in. PLR, or private label rights content, is what you might hear this referred to as sometimes. This particular example uses a simple tip sheet called Study Better. It's got several tips inside of this sheet, helping the reader to learn how to study better, apply the concepts they learn, and so on. Some quick tips, but very effective information, gets people thinking and kind of puts you on their radar as somebody providing valuable advice. So you can see here it's a $10 product, $9.95, whatever, and it's got a few tips. It's also got some actionable steps as well as links to books as well. Here is the actual tip sheet itself. Let me zoom in so you can see it in all of its glory. Study Better Tips Report. Now, I'll just quickly read this to you here, just the top, so you can get an idea of how this works. So it says, students are forever trying to find the best ways to study. However, with modern complexities in society, adults are finding they need to study as well. This presents particular challenges, as it's been a long time since many adults have had to engage in studying. If your job requires you to learn, then you need to discover the best ways to study, and then we go into the tips. So the first step is to find a quiet spot where you will have minimum number of distractions. Keep the television out of this space if possible. Let your family know that this is your area for studying and to only interrupt when it's important. And the tips go on and on. So there are the tips. There are 8 in total. There are 3 actionable steps that people can kind of follow here to study better. And then there's some books on how to study. Again, we provide some information for how you can sign up to Amazon as an associate and promote these books as an affiliate if you want to use this tip sheet as part of, let's say, an affiliate marketing campaign, or even just to earn some side income for your business, just referring good quality books to your readers or to the people that follow you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. The first step is we are going to simply open up the tip sheet and narrate through it while we record using some kind of audio recording application. In my example, I'm going to use GarageBand on the Mac. However, you could use Audacity on a PC, and you can look up, there's several other recording platforms that you can basically narrate and then save as an MP3 file. Now you have an audio file to share. So I've opened up GarageBand. This is the app I'll be using to record myself. And then I'm simply, when I'm ready, I'm going to click the record button down here and begin narrating. So let me just show you exactly how that would work. So hit record. Scroll to the top and then create a little bit of white space here, quiet section before I begin. Hi, and welcome to our short tips sheet on how to study better. Students are forever trying to find the best ways to study. However, with the modern complexities in society, adults are finding these. So you can see I just recorded a quick test there, and if I go over here and just kind of pick where I started off, we can play it back. Study better. Students are forever trying to find the best ways to study. However, so I'd do that. I would just go through this entire document. I would narrate it, and then at the end, I would just kind of chop off any white space at the beginning and the end. If I tripped my words up kind of in the middle, fix that up. You might even want to do that as you go, right? If you're narrating, you get over here, you're reading step 2, and then you don't like the way it sounds. You can come over here, pause the recording, kind of chop off the spot that doesn't work, and then begin recording again. And then the end of this, you have blended together several takes into one final MP3 that you can then publish. But again, it's a short tip sheet, right? That you were looking at 700 words. So you should be able to narrate this in like a couple of minutes max. So there you have an MP3 file that you can now share in a different format. So the next repurposing example here is to create a custom slide deck in PowerPoint format using Google Docs, which is a very simple interface. We all have access to it. It's free. So let's go through an example. So I'm in Google Docs here. I'm just going to click on the top left button here and click Slides. And then it brings me into a section where I have presentation decks. So you can see there's some templates here we can choose from. I'll just grab this orange one here. Just looks nice and clean and simple. But I like it because they already provide you with templates, right? So all you would need to do is kind of work with their template here. It looks pretty cool. They've got these different sections here. We could almost use this slide for each of the tips. It looks like it's been taped on there. So we would just go into the tip sheet here, and we would, okay, we can see it's called the Study Better Tips Report. So let's do that here. We can just type that in. Tips to help you study better. And I think actually it was 8. So let's actually put the number there. And then I might even just put some branding here. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of that slide, and then we're just going to literally dive right into the tips. So we'll put in one at a time. Where are we going here? We're going to need to go to tip number 1. And just grab that text. Actually, we'll grab the header part here first. So we'll say tip number 1, and then we'll paste in that header part, and then we can paste in the rest of the text here. Notice I'm not overly concerned about formatting at this point. I mean, that looks fine. And I could do this over and over again. I'm not going to record the whole thing, but I could simply copy and then paste another slide here, right? I just did Control-C, Control-V, and then tip number 2, and so on. And I would just go back and forth, copying and pasting from here to get a tip sheet basically done in PowerPoint format. Okay, so I just paused the video there. It took about 5 minutes, and just quickly put this into a format here with Google Docs. Obviously, if you want to make it look better or more interesting or whatever, you could spend more time. I wanted to get it done quickly, so you could just see I'll quickly go through the slides, tip 1 through 8, and then I had some action steps in here as well, and then 5 books about studying better. Could probably look a little better with that background's a bit dark, but you get the idea here. These are all clickable links. So, and then I have a little closing there. Hope you enjoy these tips courtesy of our website. So then it's saved automatically to the cloud, and then I could just simply go File, Download As, and then save a PowerPoint version of that. Okay, so you could do the same thing. And now you can see here it's in PowerPoint format on my computer, and once it's here in PowerPoint, there's a lot I can do with it as well, right? I can save it as a PDF to distribute it and share it, and all the links inside of here obviously would be clickable from that PDF. So lots you can do. That is the whole slide deck repurposing of a tip sheet. Okay, the third way to repurpose a PLR tip sheet is to use the previous 2 steps together. So we're going to create a video by merging the audio and slides together. So if you remember here, we had this PowerPoint that we exported from Google Docs. There are 14 slides in this particular case. In PowerPoint, you have a way to go to File and then Save as Pictures, which I've already done. And what it does is it basically creates an image file for each of your slides. In my case, I use JPEGs. There are several options here. So what we're going to do is combine. I'm going to use an app called ScreenFlow. ScreenFlow is a tool that lets you create videos by recording your screen. You can record your voice as well. There's several things you can do. You might also want to take a look at Camtasia, and there are several other alternative screen recording, video recording type of tools. So I'll kind of let you do your research on that. Again, I'm using ScreenFlow, and Camtasia would be another alternate. So here I have a blank project in ScreenFlow, and what ScreenFlow allows you to do is import different tools and different media files so that I can create a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the MP3 audio that I recorded in step number 1, and then I'm going to import all of the images that I did just now with the slides so I can combine those together. So I'll do that off camera. So I just brought those in. You can see here's my MP3, and then here are those different slides that I had brought in. And then you can create different tracks. So I'm going to double click to bring this into my track. You can see I have an audio track here. And then I can start building a video by blending the audio with images. So I want to start obviously with my little intro here, kind of opening frame for my video. The slides need to fit the canvas, so it works out well because I happen to build my slides at the same ratio, and that's expanded more. It'll look more like this, so it won't be quite as fuzzy. Now watch this when I hit play. Top tips to help you study better. Students are forever trying to find the best. So I can use this. Now you can remember I have that little intro before I get into tip number 1. Okay, so right here is where tip number 1 starts. So I want this first slide to go right to there, and then I'm going to bring in tip number 1 right here. So watch this. Oh, we have to, oops. We need to make each one fit. There we go. 1. The first step is to find a quiet spot where you will have minimum number of distractions. Keep the television out of this space if possible. Let your family know this is your area for studying and to only interrupt you when it's important. So we know that's where tip number 1 ends. So I can drag that over, and then I just simply fill it in. It's really quick when you use ScreenFlow or Camtasia because then you can just grab the images that you need to match the video here, right? Or match the audio. So I can see this next tip ends around there just by looking at the audio track. And I would continue doing this until I have a full video. So I'll do that off camera as well. So you can see here, I have my finished project. Basically, this will become a video. Now that I've used ScreenFlow, I'll make that a little bigger here. Those are all my slides on this top track, and then my one audio track that I recorded when I narrated the tips. And that's about it, right? So we're looking at about 4 minutes, and then I can just go to File, Export. Whatever tool you're using will have a similar feature, and then you export it to usually MP4 format. And then you can upload it to YouTube or Vimeo, or if you have a membership site and you want to use an app like Wistia, all those will work. And now you have a video version of your tip sheet. And the next repurposing tip is creating an infographic from the tip sheet using Canva. So if you haven't used Canva before, excuse me, this will be a great introduction for you. So you just go to canva.com and then you can sign up with your Facebook profile or just create a new account. And then it says at the top, what do you want to design? Well, you can start typing in the word infographic here, and it'll pull up a whole series of infographic templates that you can just start working with. A number of them are free. So for example, right here, let's go down. This one looks pretty good. So right here, you could just start coming in right away and editing it, right? So we had, ours was 8 tips to study better, right? And then how do you zoom this in? Here we go. If you want to take a closer look at it. So we could just leave some of the designs here. All of these elements here, if you notice, it's hard to tell, but when I click on them, you can actually change them. So there's quite a few things you can work with on the left side here. There's different grids and photos and shapes and charts and stuff you can put in. If you want to do this quickly, I would just try to stick to their templates as closely as possible. So 8 tips to study better. I would probably remove some additional text here, maybe put a link or a call to my URL, for example, brought to you by Tools for Motivation or something like that. And then I would just put in my tips, tip number 1, and I would paste in the text. Now it only has space here, I think, by default for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4. So you'll have to maybe play around with maybe putting 2 tips per section. Work with the theme that you have. Again, you know what, it doesn't need to be perfect. The idea here is to create an infographic that you can simply save as a graphic file and then upload to places like Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram. You could even use this as the intro to a blog post. So your blog isn't just pure text. You have a visual element at the top that catches people's eyes, and then they move down and they could read additional information about your tips and so on. So I'll actually have an example you can download where we take the study better tips here and we've put it into an infographic. I'm not going to record myself going through this Canva template because you can do that just by experimentation here. Now moving on to the 5th idea here for repurposing your tip sheet, create a series of Instagram posts. This will follow along a very similar path to the one we just covered with the infographics. So I head back over to Canva and I want to design an Instagram post. You can search it up. It's showing up here as one of the first ones. And then again, you'll have a whole bunch of free templates to start with. You can upgrade your account and get premium ones as well. I wouldn't worry so much about that in the beginning since you're just kind of worried about repurposing your tip sheets in a simple way here, right? So let's pick this one. It loads in that template, and then I would just, again, go over to my tip sheet. Let's just grab a random tip. I'm not going to grab the first one because we've used that already. Study with a group of people. Okay, so that's the name of the tip. And then I can paste in the rest here. Or you could even just do it like, leave it like that, right? Study with a group of people. And then I could experiment with maybe putting some of the text in here. I don't know know if I need that quote really. Whatever, I'm not going to worry too much about the design. But here, like that's a very 4-second simple example of creating an Instagram post from one of these tips. And you could build it as a series. So the series of tips might be 8 in total. So I could say tip 1 of 8, and then post 1 per hour for the next 8 hours, 1 per day for the next 8 days. It's just a good way of getting additional social engagement for your business or your brand using the Instagram platform by providing tips. So imagine you had 10 of these tip sheets for a total of like 100 different tips. Now you could have 100 days worth of Instagram posts done using a simple design like this. Someone on your team or a VA or somebody on your outsourced staff could go ahead and create a bunch of these Instagram posts using just the free templates here, right? You could click around and just find ones you like. And again, later on, you could upgrade in Canva if you want additional templates to work with. So very simple. You can create your 8 Instagram posts using what I just showed you. And the final example is quite simple, but also quite important when it comes to your building your brand, growing your business, creating an email broadcast. As often as possible, again, depending on your market, but quite often you will want to be sending email broadcasts to your list. It would be a combination of delivering free value, delivering offers or creating an offer, some kind of special offer. Maybe you'll be promoting another company as an affiliate, some kind of combination. Whatever it is, your audience comes to you for a specific reason. You're an expert in their eyes for whatever it is that you do. And you want to make sure you stay in constant communication with them via email marketing. So all I would do with this particular tip sheet is use the text of the tip sheet to help me create a broadcast. So in our business, we use an email marketing software system called ActiveCampaign. It's an autoresponder system, and it allows you to create email broadcasts to your list. And you can kind of see a template that you can start with here. There's lots of different elements I'm not going into, but you see the general structure of an email, right? Hey, first name. This is an email broadcast. We can put in the main message that we want to send out that day. This is a link if we want to link them to an offer or a blog post, maybe one of our partners' websites, and so on. We have another section down here if we have an example. We want to go deeper with the content. So all I would do is I would go into my tip sheet here, and I could literally copy and paste. I might want to add some of my own context here. Say, something like today I have, or having problems studying. Check out these 8 quick tips. Obviously, that's not the final format here, but I could literally just grab them here. Let's just grab 3 for now. And we'll pop it right into our autoresponder system here. And it kind of formatted it to a degree. I'd have to work on some of the formatting. So for example, this one didn't show up as a number 3. So anyway, I don't want to do all of that here while you're watching because it's going to be time consuming. But you can see I can quickly format this. And before I know it, I can break it into multiple sections, right? Here are 8 tips. And then I would have another section here. Here are 3 immediate actions to try. Right? And then I would pop in the action items from here. 1, 2, 3. I would just copy the text from there. Let's just do it really quick so you can see how I would do this. I'm not working as quickly as I would have liked. There you go. So that's number 1, and so on. And I usually spend 5 or 10 minutes making the structure of this email look good. Like I wouldn't want to have a double space there. My email readers I want their eyes to move down the screen nicely and efficiently. So I would have my tips, then my action items, and then I could even put the recommended reading in there. Or I might shorten all of this and then have some kind of link like we had right here. To read the full tip sheet, click here, right? So the email itself could be a little teaser of the full tip sheet, and in which case I would need to do some slicing and dicing, maybe trim this down a little bit to not share all of the info. And the good thing there is that the email would pique their interest and get them to click off of their email account and over to my website, where obviously they can take more action, join my program, subscribe to an upcoming webinar or class. Who knows what it may be that I want to promote, but it's always a good idea to get them to leave their email and go to your website. So you could use a tip sheet as is, or you can use elements of the tip sheet to direct them somewhere else where they can get full tips and then do additional business with you from there. So that just shows you sort of how I would do this using an autoresponder system. So that was it. 6 pretty simple, quick ways you can repurpose a PLR self-help tip sheet. Each one takes maybe 10 minutes. If you're just getting started, maybe a little bit more, but I'm saying under 10 minutes if you really focus on this and get good at it. And of course, if you get people on your team doing it for you, then it takes you personally 0 minutes, right? And you can get all of this content from a very simple text document repurposed into many different formats. And now you can start branding your company in all different types of formats, as well as different locations across the web, and get an audience from all over the map back to your website and taking you up on your offers, joining your list, and so on. So I hope you like that. Let us know if you have any questions. Head over to toolsformotivation.com for more information, and we look forward to meeting you.